state regime media known as Fox had to kick that propaganda into extra high gear yesterday after Donald Trump signed an executive order seeking to abolish the Department of Education, which over 80% of independents disapprove of, over 90% of Democrats disapprove of, wildly unpopular. So what does Fox do? They bring in Donald Trump's Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, who starts talking about, I don't know, this is all contrived by consultants who are like pythons constricting over your neck. I have no clue what he's talking about, but let's play the clip.
It's this consultant group who has they're like a boa constrictor, they're like a python. They've got themselves
no pun intended.
Yeah.
Python language. Yeah. All you coders have them.
It was intended. So
yeah. Okay. Smarty pants. Thanks.
So, but
then he keeps on talking about like pythons constricting you and like snake references. It's all very, very bizarre. Here he is talking about how these interests in DC are constricting themselves around. Play the clip.
What's going on?
Well, Laura, you've been in DC a long time. I've been here 8 weeks, but one of the biggest surprises for me is just seeing how these entrenched interests, they just keep constricting themselves around the power, around the money, around the systems, and nobody cares. I mean,
you know, Scott Bessent lives in the actual real life version of a Barbie dollhouse, this pink $22 million mansion in Charleston, South Carolina. This guy's worth like $500 million. Hey, Scott, maybe you can just allow people to keep their Medicaid and stop freaking calling Social Security a Ponzi scheme like Elon Musk is, and stop abolishing the Department of Education. And then if you want to talk about pythons constricting or whatever the hell you want to talk about, could we just start with, like, I don't know, doing the basic functions of government and not also destroying people's 401ks? And when you're asked whether or not there's going to be a recession, stop treating it like it's a freaking game. We know it doesn't matter to you because you're so rich, but it matters to the rest of Americans, especially Americans who live paycheck to paycheck. Speaking of someone who does not live paycheck to paycheck and is totally someone who cannot relate to what Americans are going through, cue in Lara Trump right here, and they're pushing on Fox. Oh, all of these lefties, they're out here just saying the craziest things, you know, like Donald Trump and Putin are best friends, you know, like they're not friends. Here, play this clip.
It's pretty amazing to see them getting it given back to them. But this is what happens, Laura, whenever you empower these far left radicals in your party. And that's what's happened over the past several years with the Democrats. They've catered to these people. They've allowed these people, and not just allowed them, but encouraged them to believe all these crazy lies, like Donald Trump's going to put, you know, gay and interracial couples in internment camps if he becomes president, like that he's best friends with Vladimir Putin.
You may be right in the sense that Donald Trump wants Putin to be his best friend, and Putin keeps on making a fool out of Donald Trump, like making Trump wait 90 minutes for him before Putin even got on the call. And then Putin just playing Donald Trump. Trump goes, oh, Putin's agreed to a ceasefire as it relates to energy infrastructure. And what does Putin do right away after the call with Donald Trump? He does extra strikes on energy infrastructure. Yesterday, bombing Odessa was one of the worst drone strikes since the outset of the war. But didn't Donald Trump say that he was going to bring peace in 24 hours? Didn't he say he has such a great relationship with Putin and Zelensky that this would all be so easy? Back to Scott Bessent here. This guy is like the most arrogant, out of touch guy in the world. And he's sitting there on Fox and he's like, you know, what we really need to do is we need to bring in more Doji people. We need to bring in more of the Doge. And we got to tell their stories. We need you to relate to the pain and suffering that the Doge, that Mr. Big Balls from Doge is going through with his constricted python. Play this clip.
Again, that's why I wanted the American people to meet Sam. We're going to bring some more Doge people forward to actually hear their stories, see what's being done, because the entrenched interests, the consultants, the Democrats, mainstream media, they just want to blow this project out of the water. And
I mean, it's beyond parody, but you know, this guy is crushing people's lives. It's ridiculous. You want us to feel bad for the Doge crew, Mr. Big Balls, and whoever the people are who have stolen access to our medical records, to our social security information, to our tax information, the people who are firing the veterans, who are destroying essential services, who are treating federal government workers like crap, the people who are saying that social security is a Ponzi scheme. I want to hear the stories of the American people who are standing up to people like you. I want to hear what Americans are thinking, not what Mr. Big Balls from Doge is thinking. Anyway, here is, again, Scott Bessent, and he's like, I tell Elon all the time, I said, look, you're going after people's cheese. When you go after their cheese, people love their cheese. Here, play this clip.
So why is this controversial to make the IRS data-driven?
Well, because it's like I told Elon, I said, Elon, you're under fire because you've moved people's cheese. And he said, well, it's the American people's cheese. And
again, these are the most out of touch oligarchs ever. I mean, it's like the oligarchs from Hunger Games. It's beyond parody. It's beyond idiocracy. Speaking of which, Jesse Waters, one of the chief propagandists on Fox, he says something about like if you eat soup in public, he insinuates that eating soup in public is too feminine for men. I don't know what are they talking about? Play this clip.
I have rules for men. They're just funny. They're not that serious. Like you don't eat soup in public. You don't cross your legs, and you don't drink from a straw. And one of the reasons you don't drink from a straw is because the way your lips purse. It's very effeminate. And his excuse was, well, I was drinking a milkshake. Again, you shouldn't be drinking a milkshake. Milkshakes are for kids.
Yeah. This is the messaging on Fox. This is what they beam to make brain mush out of their viewers every single day. And they can have their viewers, I think I saw a KGB memo from, I think it was the 1970s. And they're like, if you can start getting people to live in this echo chamber and just to kind of fear everything, you can basically get them to believe anything at all. And there's really no way to kind of pull them out. And it just feels like they have them living in this bizarro dystopian fantasy world where they vote against their interests and they're upset about eating soup and sipping soup in public or straws. What are they even talking about? And meanwhile, they're having their Medicaid taken away, their Social Security threatened, there's tax cuts for the billionaires, and people are getting screwed over while all of this is going on. Here you have Kayleigh McEnany, one of Donald Trump's former press secretary. She's a host on Fox as part of the revolving door they have there. And she's like, thank God he's cutting and destroying liberal Washington, D.C. Yay for destroying Washington, D.C. Play this clip.
Amount of money. Just final point, Politico Playbook had an excellent way of framing this. Though I'm sure they meant it negatively, they're a Beltway publication. This is the wholesale destruction of the liberal state. It is not just the Department of Education. He is gutting liberal Washington, D.C. in a way that they say could be permanent. Thank God.
And Harris,
it's always kind of funny though to me when Fox actually has to just report on what the data is and they can't spin it like this.
Voters oppose President Trump's efforts to reduce the number of government employees, changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, and ranking near the bottom in support. His campaign promised to close the Department of Education. Well, today.
Or this.
Education more expensive. New Fox polls show 92% of Democrats oppose shuttering the department, plus 81% of independents and more than a third of Republicans.
We have started doing this.
And then when I've been watching Hannity, so you don't have to. It's basically Hannity threatening the CEO of Disney, Bob Iger, with, Murdoch is one of the big investors in Disney. Disney owns ABC. And so one of the things that Hannity does is he frequently just calls out Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, by name. And he's like, Bob, does Mickey Mouse approve of this? Hey, Bob, does Mickey Mouse approve that Jimmy Kimmel's making fun of Tesla? Bob. And he keeps on saying that. And the insinuation is that, hey, Bob, you like that stock price? Nice stock of yours. Or, hey, Bob, Donald Trump, my buddy, can regulate you and could decide if they're going to do investigations of you. Here, play this clip.
I wonder if Bob Iger of Disney and I wonder if Mickey Mouse approve of Jimmy Kimmel's message. Just curious.
Here he is doing it again. This was the night before, too. Play it.
Jimmy Kimmel's show is owned and run by ABC Disney. And Disney's run by a guy by the name of Bob Iger. Bob, are you okay with this seeming glorification of violence? Is this the inclusive woke DEI, the ABC Disney?
And just so you see that this was like Hannity's kind of go-to move back in September of 2024, before the debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, Hannity did the same thing. I just want to show you this pattern. Let's play it.
So should we really hold out any hope that ABC will at least try and be fair? Well, outgoing ABC Disney CEO Bob Iger, what kind of reputation do you want to leave behind? Will your network, are you going to be fair? Are you going to really show journalism? Are you going to be neutral? Or will the reputation of ABC News under the banner of Disney live up to their reputation of, or forever be tarnished with, extreme left-wing?
And then after all of that, they have the audacity on the same show. Hannity goes, organizing ideological boycotts should be illegal. Isn't that a crime? Isn't it actionable? Here, play this clip.
Organizing ideological boycotts and calls for violence, are they not actionable? I mean, wasn't this case adjudicated in the Second Circuit? I have a lawyer that was involved in that case that I spoke to and says they won unanimously.
Well, it comes very close, Sean, to inciting violence, which does require a highly specific direction or encouragement to commit a described act of violence.
Wow. Oh, then Hannity brings on Josh Hawley, MAGA Republican senator from Missouri. And one of the things that Josh Hawley, he wants to minimize what federal district courts are. And he's like, it should always be noted that the courts that are issuing these orders against Donald Trump, they're entry-level courts. Entry-level courts. And what do you mean by entry-level courts? I've never heard someone refer to a federal district court as an entry-level court. And Josh Hawley, yes, district courts have the absolute right to issue injunctions, the same way your buddy, the MAGA Republican judge from Texas, Northern District, Matthew Kaczmarek, issued all the injunctions that derailed former President Biden's agenda when Biden was trying to help people, when Biden was doing things to help the environment, relieve student debt, help workers. Y'all stop that with Judge Kaczmarek, remember? But no, you don't. Of course you don't. You're just going to gaslight us. Here, play this clip.
You know, I don't know the answer to that, Sean, but I do know the answer to this. What these courts are doing, these district courts, is wrong. It is unconstitutional. I want to be real clear. To me, this isn't about Congress taking away power courts currently have. This is about Congress reforming and stopping the abuse. These district courts, these are the entry-level federal courts. They do not have the authority to go out and to say, Mr. President, you can't do this. We're going to bind everybody nationwide. They don't have that authority, Sean.
It's the entry level. Okay, well, it's called the federal district court. They issue an order. You can then appeal it to the Court of Appeals, and then you can appeal it to the Supreme Court. That's the way our system works. But I guess in the Trump regime system, you're now reduced to where you have your attorney general like this, Pam Bondi. She goes on the Fox shows and she it's almost like she's a low level, PR flack. This is the attorney general. And there's no difference in the way she's a guest on Fox from when she was a Fox commentator. Here, play this clip.
Have no right to control President Trump's agenda. But yeah, of course we need the Supreme Court. We will get there. We will get there fast and we will prevail. Look what Donald Trump has accomplished in the short time he's been in office. It's remarkable. They can't stand it. They can't handle it. He is saving our country. We are going to protect Americans. We are going to make America prosperous again and safe again.
All right, I want to ask you about these attacks.
But I guess what would you expect from MAGA? I mean, here's MAGA Republican Senator John Cornyn, who posts photos of himself. This is then amplified by Elon Musk reading Trump's The Art of the Deal. How could it shocks me how utterly spineless these humans can be. It is so bizarre. Okay, and finally, you have Howard Lutnick, Donald Trump's Commerce Secretary, going on Jesse Waters and telling people to buy Tesla stock, literally trying to pump up the Tesla stock. Let's play it.
To build the next generation technology. I think if you want to learn something on this show tonight, buy Tesla. It's unbelievable that this guy's stock is this cheap. It'll never be this cheap again. When people understand the things he's building, the robots he's building, the technology he's building, people are going to be dreaming of today and Jesse Waters and thinking, gosh, I should have bought Elon Musk's stock. I mean, who wouldn't invest in Elon Musk? You got to be kidding.
All right, so you're calling.
By the way, that judge who Josh Hawley was talking about, Judge Jeb Boasberg, who used to be the chief judge of the FISA court, the Foreign Intelligence Act court, and he's also the chief judge of Washington, D.C. Yesterday, he issued an order to show cause why Trump should not be held in contempt, or the Trump regime should not be held in contempt for not providing information about the migrants who the Trump regime claims are terrorist, enemy combatant, gang member, hybrid warfare warriors, which is the reason they were sent to concentration camps in El Salvador. And the Trump regime is not providing answers at all about who these people are. And the judge says, you better provide it. That's the showdown that's going to be happening today. And I've talked about it on the podcast that with my brothers and on other hot takes, that there was one migrant from Venezuela who sought asylum here legally. He was here legally, lawfully. He was here in the United States, and he was sent to the concentration camps in El Salvador. He had a tattoo for Real Madrid, and there was a photo of him throwing up a peace sign. And the Trump regime claimed that was a gang sign. And this was someone here in the U.S. database because it was a lawful asylum seeker who stood up to the Maduro regime in Venezuela. Now this individual's lost in the concentration camp system of freaking El Salvador, and that pisses me off. This is a country of, call me old-fashioned, but this is a country of laws where there should be due process and not sending random people to concentration camps. And you go, oh, they're terrorists, they're bad guys. Then prove it. Then prove it. Then show the evidence that they're the bad guys. You're too scared to show the evidence. It's pathetic. And the state propaganda of Fox is pathetic. Tell me what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.